Welcome students. Today I will discuss very important chapter circular motion, and we will get the application of this chapter in gravitation, in modern physics, everywhere, near about everywhere, electricity, magnetism part also. So circular motion is very important part for us. So please try to concentrate and review this chapter many times if possible. First, whenever a motion is happening, then the main measuring factor is the displacement. So if displacement is there, then you can say that motion is happening. So here also we have to see the angular displacement first. So what is angular displacement? Let a particle is moving in a circular path, and here any instant the particle is present here at the position P. At any instant the particle is situated at the point P. So the radius vector is R here, this direction. This is center to P. Now when it moves to, the particle is rotating, so it moves to the point Q, then radius vector is here. So this angle is called theta, which is the angular displacement. So angular displacement is the angle made by the radius vector. Why it is said radius vector? It is because this radius is always connected with the particle. So whenever the particle is changing its place, the radius vector also changing its direction. That's why we are saying that it is not a radius, it is a radius vector. And here the radius vector always forms an angle at the center, which is known, which is the measurement of angular displacement. Angular displacement. Okay. Now theta can be measured in degree, radian, all this. You know that theta, the angle can be measured in which unit, that you know very well. But here you have to keep in mind, always theta is measured in radian. Always we have to measure theta in radian. So in radian measurement, theta equal to S by R. This is S by R, or you can say S equal to R theta. So here you can find out the relation between linear displacement and angular displacement. Now this is the first topic, angular displacement. So if angular displacement is there, means angular velocity also there. So what is angular velocity? Angular velocity is denoted by omega, which is theta by time, radian per second. This is the definition of angular velocity, which is denoted by omega equal to theta by t. Now we can represent this into two factors. One is 2 pi by t, omega equal to, another is omega equal to 2 pi n. Now what is t, what is n? T means time period. So time period means what? That this is a circular path, a particle starts its motion from here and made one complete circular motion, and the time is t. So the time required for one complete circular motion is known as time period. So whenever a total motion is completed, then what is the angle made here? 2 pi. So you can say that omega equal to 2 pi by t. And what is 2 pi n? In 1 second, how many oscillation or how many circular motion can be performed? That is known as frequency, which is n. So in 1 second, n number of oscillation is completed, means frequency n. In 1 second, n number of oscillation and n number of circular motion is completed. So whenever one circular motion is completed, then what is the angle produced? That is 2 pi. So for n, it will be 2 pi n, omega equal to 2 pi n. Now one relation we can establish here. We know that the linear velocity v equal to s by t. This is the expression for linear velocity. Now we can say that r theta by t, so this is r omega, then v equal to r omega. This is one relation. See, whenever we are introducing radius with the angular term, it turn to the linear one. So whenever we are introducing radius vector, it turn to the linear vector, linear factor. Now number 3, angular acceleration. So these are the elements: the angular displacement, angular velocity, angular acceleration. These are the elements of circular motion. So angular acceleration is denoted by alpha equal to omega 2 minus omega 1 by t radian per second square. And we have linear acceleration f equal to v minus u by t, that is omega 2r minus omega 1r by t. So omega 2 minus omega 1 into r by t, that is f equal to r alpha. So everywhere we are finding one relation, that whenever a radius vector is introduced, it turn to the linear one. Now the kinematical equations. So we have the kinematical equations in the case of linear motion. What are the equations? S equal to Vt, V equal to u plus At, S equal to ut plus half of At square, V square equal to u square plus 2as, and Sth equal to u plus half of A into 2t minus 1. All these equations are related with linear motion. Now if we want to transfer all these equations in the form of circular motion, then what we have to do? We know that linear displacement will be transferred to theta, because angular displacement is theta. And here the velocity will be transferred to omega and t, angular velocity. Now here we can write omega 2 equal to omega 1 plus alpha t, and theta equal to omega 1 t plus half alpha t square, and here omega 2 square equal to omega 1 square plus 2 alpha theta, and also theta th equal to omega 1 plus half alpha into 2t minus 1. So these are the equations for circular motion. So we have proved these equations in the case of linear motion in one dimension. So similarly we can prove the circular motion, but dividing. See here, if you, this is the equation, S equal to Vt. If you divide by r, here r, then it is turned to theta equal to omega t. Okay. So very important concept is, whenever we are introducing radius vector with the angular term, it immediately it will convert it to the linear one. Okay. Now acceleration for a particle performing circular motion. So we have discussed the elements of circular motion, that is angular displacement, angular velocity, angular acceleration, and the kinematical equations means relation among these topics, that among the elements whatever related with the circular motion. Now whenever a particle is performing circular motion, always it is accelerated motion. A circular motion is always accelerated motion. Now then what are the accelerations related with this motion that we have to discuss? Let this is a circular path where a particle is rotating. When the particle is here, the velocity direction is this. When the particle is here, the velocity direction is this. When the particle is here, velocity direction is this. So you can see that the direction of linear velocity always changes. When a particle performing circular motion, that time the direction of velocity, linear velocity always changes. As we know that linear velocity is a vector quantity. So velocity is a vector quantity means if we change magnitude or direction, any one, then it will change. So here the direction always changes. Due to change of direction, one acceleration is produced, which is known as centripetal acceleration. Centripetal acceleration, which is equal to A centripetal equal to V square by R, or you can say omega square R. This is the expression for centripetal acceleration. So this acceleration is generated due to change of direction of the linear velocity. Because whenever a particle performing circular motion, its direction of linear velocity always changes. That's why this is said that centripetal acceleration. It is always directed to the center also. It is always directed. This is the magnitude. Acceleration is a vector quantity. This is the magnitude, and the direction is always towards the center. Now, one more thing. Whenever the magnitude of this velocity is changing with time, means like this is the circular path where the particle is performing. Here the velocity direction is this, then this, then this, then this, then this. See, the magnitude also, direction changes. Obviously, the direction should change in the case of the direction must change in the case of circular motion. So acceleration, centripetal acceleration must be there. But also the magnitude may change. The magnitude may change. That's why one acceleration is produced, which is direction is tangentially, is tangential acceleration, which is equal to dv/dt. So what is tangential acceleration? When the magnitude of linear velocity changes with time during circular motion, then we said that tangential acceleration. So tangential acceleration directed this direction, AT, and centripetal this direction. So these two accelerations are perpendicular to each other. Then what is the net acceleration? Root over AC square plus AT square. That is V square by R whole square plus dv/dt whole square. So in the case of circular motion, we have to keep in mind a particle always contains the centripetal acceleration always, and it may contains the tangential acceleration. When centripetal acceleration, if the magnitude changes with time, if the magnitude changes with time, then it is tangential acceleration. If the magnitude of linear velocity changes with time, then it is said that tangential acceleration. But if the direction changes with time, always, if the direction changes, then it is said that centripetal acceleration. So centripetal acceleration is this, and tangential acceleration is this, and they are all centripetal always directed towards the center, and tangential always directed towards tangent. These are perpendicular to each other, so the resultant acceleration will be root over AC square plus AT square. Now, how we can prove the centripetal acceleration is this? That thought is the tangential acceleration is divided. This is the definition only. We know from class 7 the change of velocity by time. But how it is coming that V square by R? How we can prove that? See. Let particle is performing circular motion with radius r with uniform angular speed, and then v equal to omega r. So always keep in mind, whenever you want to prove centripetal acceleration, that time you have to use that word uniform circular motion. When uniform circular motion is there, then only we can establish the centripetal acceleration. So here the velocity direction is this is v equal to omega. Now when the particle turn through a small angle theta, delta theta, then the velocity becomes this. So magnitude remains same as I said that uniform circular motion. So magnitude remains same, but the direction changes. So what is the change of the velocity? We can shift the vector here. Parallelly we can shift, and this is turned through angle theta. This angle is delta theta. So this is the initial vector. It is shifted here and it turned. So now, if we want to find out the change, what we have to do? We have to subtract the final one from the initial. So by subtracting this final vector, this is the initial, this is the final. So final minus initial means this is the minus v. This is v minus v. Now parallel is considered. This is the change r. So how I am getting this r? Initial vector is this v vector. It is turned through an angle delta theta. Now two vectors we are getting here, and we have to subtract from final to initial. That's why I am taking the opposite of this initial one. Now r square equal to what? V square plus v square minus 2v cos delta theta. That is 2v square into 1 minus cos delta theta. That is 2v square into 2 sine square delta theta by 2. So r equal to 2v sine delta theta by 2. Now I have said that the angle is very small, that's why I have considered delta theta. So in radian measurement, if theta is small, then sin theta near about equal to theta. If theta is small, then sin theta near about to theta. So here we can put r equal to 2v into delta theta by 2, that is v into delta theta. So this is the change, this is a subtraction. Now what is the rate of change? Rate of change equal to v into delta theta by delta t, that is v into omega, because delta theta by delta t is v into omega. So one more thing, that this is very interesting, that centripetal acceleration is the product of two velocities. Centripetal acceleration is the product of two velocities. One is linear velocity, another is angular velocity. Now you can modify this one in this way, that v square by r or omega square r. V square by r or omega. By putting v equal to omega or omega equal to v by r, anything. So this is the product, that centripetal acceleration is the product of two vectors, two velocity vectors. One is linear velocity, another is angular velocity. Now we can modify it in this way, v square by r or omega square. Okay, this is very interesting and this is very important also. Now we know that whenever we want to produce acceleration, that time we have to apply force according to Newton's laws of motion. So whenever we want to produce acceleration, that time we have to supply force, and the force is centripetal force, which is Fc equal to MAC, that is mv square by r or m omega square r. So whenever we want to produce centripetal acceleration, that time we have to supply force, a force which is known as centripetal force, and which is mv square by r m square. Now what is the definition of centripetal force? The force which is required to produce uniform circular motion. You have to keep in mind, means omega constant. If omega is not constant, then you cannot define centripetal force. So keep in mind, in uniform circular motion, the force which is required to produce uniform circular motion is known as, and which is always directed towards the center and remains perpendicular to the linear velocity, then it is known as centripetal force. So whenever a particle is performing uniform circular motion, omega constant, then this is v, this is v, this is v, this is v, this is v. So this force always remains perpendicular to the v and directed towards the center, and omega constant, then you can define centripetal force. Okay, so practice this. These are all basic concept for this chapter. Next day I will move to the next application sections. Okay, thank you.